everybody. Welcome back. We are here on the Young Entrepreneurs Podcast, episode 4. Oh, man, we're coming in hot now. This is good stuff. I'm excited. I have a very, very special guest on today with me, a good friend, a man with an amazing voice and an incredible talent for music, and someone that I consider a constituent, someone I consider a truly good friend, partner, business networking guru, if you will, David Wilner. Thank you so much for coming on the show with me today, man. I'm excited to talk to you about your entrepreneurial journey.
Thank you, Matt. I appreciate it. It's an honor to be here with you today.
Absolutely, man. Thank you again for taking the time out of your busy schedule. I know how busy you are. I know what it takes to get a guy like you an hour away from your day.
I don't know what you're talking about. I do so little. I could have just hang out every week.
No, this guy is famous. David is
so nice.
Famous in the community. He's a community leader. I consider you to be a community leader.
Thank you.
You're doing so much in the Naperville community in particular, and not only that, surrounding communities as well. In Chicago, I think, in general, you've been able to touch many people, touch many lives, and you've been doing it through your music, through your passion, through your skill, and I value that. I love it. So, David, you're a graduate from University of Illinois, Urbana, right? Urbana. That's how you pronounce it?
Urbana-Champaign.
Champaign.
There you go. Yes, indeed.
Big deal. So
Indeed.
You graduated from Urbana, from U of I Urbana, Premed.
Yes.
So I didn't know this before we started this.
I just surprised you with this mere moments before we hit record.
I want to start right with that.
Sure.
I want to start with Premed. I mean, you're doing something completely different now.
I am, yeah.
You are a musician. You've been playing in bands for over 20 years. You've been making your own music. You've been producing as well.
Absolutely.
And I noticed on your website you have the Master of Ceremonies.
Yes.
So I love that because that's really it depicts who you are and what you do in your business. Is you draw that attention. You get crowds excited, and especially when you start to sing and things like that.
Well, thank you.
Obviously, but I mean, Premed. That's a whole nother area. So explain that a little bit. So what happened there? When you started Premed and why you didn't go through with that?
Okay, so let's travel back in time a little bit. I going through school was always I'll just say it out. I'll just say it. I was a very smart kid. I was a little ahead of the game. I skipped a year in elementary school, which set me off on an interesting path of always being the young kid who was ahead of his grade. I graduated high school at 16.
What? Wow.
From a very competitive, awesome high school, in fact, Adlai Stevenson High School in Lincolnshire. And I was just 16 years old when I graduated. And one of the things that happens when you're a super smart little boy, people start telling you, oh, you're going to be a doctor someday. In fact, there was that wonderful TV show that gave me a nickname that I heard constantly, Doogie Howser. I was David Doogie Howser. I heard that all the time because, just being the little kid I was always for a long time, I was the shortest kid in the class. So, it was definitely like he was, me, my younger self. I was, I was in all the honors classes and I was kind of given this kind of path. It was like, hey, you're so smart. You're going to be a doctor or a lawyer or whatever you want. And truth be told, I had, one of the cool things about having the great options available to you and being raised in a family where I truly believed you could be whatever you wanted as long as you were a high-end professional.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that, you kind of get set on that path. My family and I were in a car accident when I was 15 years old, and my dad broke his neck. And he ended up having a spinal fusion surgery that saved him from becoming a quadriplegic. And after a long bout of rehab, he is, made a miraculous recovery. But I remember thinking to myself, oh my God, doctors did that. and saved my dad's life, basically. And I said, I want to be that someday. I want to be a surgeon. I'm going to go and study that.
That's a good reason to do so.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I also had a really great high school teacher back at Stevenson who was my chemistry teacher, and he made chemistry into quite literally, in my mind, the most fascinating subject in the world.
That's hard to do.
Most people were like, ugh, chemistry. Ugh. I freaking loved it. And I was like, more so than anything in college, like the weird thing is I was like, I don't want to do biology pre-med. I'm going to do chemistry pre-med. And then
because of that influence
from that guy, from that wonderful teacher. His name's Mr. Urich. I'll remember him forever.
Out.
Yeah, shout out.
I wonder if he's still over there.
No, he's retired many years now, but he was wonderful. Yeah, I eventually decided that, well, let's take a step back. All along the way, I have been a musician.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't like I accidentally said, man, I'm not smart enough to cut it as pre-med. Yeah. What's my fallback?
Yeah, that's a complete shift right there.
I was involved in music from the time I was born, basically.
Okay.
I was born into a family lineage of musicians.
Gotcha.
I have been playing piano since before I have conscious memory of it.
Wow.
Like I've been told I started playing when I was about 3 years old.
Wow, that's awesome.
My grandmother was my music teacher. She was a concert symphony pianist with the Chicago Symphony Orchestra.
Wow. Okay.
My grandfather.
So you had some really good influences.
My grandfather was a musical theater actor who became a cantorial soloist and a cantor at one of the most largest congregation temples in the North Shore of Chicago.
Wow.
And my aunt was a dancer before she ended up getting married and having a family. My mother was a professional singer guitarist who then became a music teacher for the next 40 years of her life and retired about 10 years ago when she discovered she was going to become a grandmother to my son. So yes, music's in the family. I should say my sister was on Broadway for years and years and years.
Nuts.
So it wasn't a big transition. Yeah. Music was a part of my life and what I was doing constantly as a sideline to all these high-end academic things that I had set forth as my goals.
Absolutely.
When I got to University of Illinois, I had the wonderful fortune of getting accepted into the top men's choir in the school, where I met a bunch of guys who were looking to put together an a cappella ensemble, and they became more than just singers that I hung out with. They became my fraternity, my brotherhood. That experience, the name of the group is called the Extension Chords.
Oh, nice.
That group is still active and doing wonderfully down at U of I.
Beautiful.
All these years later, we basically, they had been around for a semester before I showed up as a 17-year-old freshman.
Wow.
And
that's insane.
And over my 4 years, from freshman year to senior year, that took over my entire life.
Wow.
Like, it became very obvious to me that while I had the mind for medicine, I did not have the heart and passion to go forward with that. I graduated and got my degree, and I have my diploma that says Bachelor of Science, Pre-Medicine Curriculum, but I majored in singing in all ways and shapes and forms, except for the fact that I did not study singing in anything there.
You didn't have to.
It was
it.
We built that little ensemble from. We did our first end of semester show was at the end of my first semester, freshman year. We had about 25 people in a coffee house. I think about 12 of those 25 people were related to the guys that were singing.
Wow.
Like my mom and dad and sister came to the show,
of course.
right? So
cousins, brother maybe.
Whatever. Right. Spring of my senior year, we sold 1,750 seats at the largest auditorium on campus.
Holy cow, that is insane.
That's a feat that has never been repeated by any iteration of that group in the 20 plus years since.
So you really grew this ensemble.
Yeah,
I mean,
we grew it like crazy.
And I want to talk on that a little bit as far as from my perception, that seems like it would be like the start of entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
The start of that journey. Would you say that is
100%?
Yeah.
100.
Awesome.
And that's why I bring it up, and I wanted to put that out there and
Absolutely.
spend time talking about it, because it was more than just a really fun collegiate experience. It wasn't just ticket sales. Like, we recorded 2 albums.
Wow.
We sold the albums. I helped produce on them. I was writing arrangements for it. We, as a group, were writing comedy sketches and doing choreography, and we were selling our services as like, hey, we'll come and we'll sing at a corporate event, or like, it got to the point where it wasn't just one show at the end of the semester in the fall and one show at the end of the semester in the spring. It was like, we're doing paid gigs once every week or two, all semester long.
That's insane, and that's a business. That's
It
a
was
very well run.
It was a business
machine right there.
It was,
yeah.
and I'm not going to take full credit for it by any means. The guys that I was with, who are still to this day some of my best friends in the whole world, we had a truly serendipitous combination of talents and business acumen at a young age. You know, I graduated at just 20 years old.
Wow. Yeah.
And
earlier than most of your class.
Oh, exactly. And like a lot of my friends who are of my, same year or graduating, they were 22, 23 years old, which is awesome. And but I mean, age not being a factor in it at all, like it's such a, with limited experience, just being college kids, we created something amazing that has now endured.
And it's still happening.
Absolutely, it's
Which
still
is the
happening.
best part, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We have a burgeoning alumni group that builds every single year. So we actually started giving each other numbers so that we could keep track of all the guys that have been in and out of that group over the years.
Wow.
My official number is number 7.
That's like the original. How many numbers does it go up to now?
I want to say we're in the 150s now.
Wow, that's incredible.
So like the young freshmen that just have made the group this past year, I want to say they're in the 150s, give or take.
Interesting.
And and it's great. And we it's a beautiful thing to say that you've left a legacy behind at a campus of 36,000 students where it's really hard to make your mark.
100%. Yeah, I mean,
we've made our mark.
That's a huge school. I mean, you're talking about they weren't classrooms, they were lecture
auditoriums.
rooms. Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
I mean, you're talking about tons of students, tons of a very competitive school as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
But to be able to do that is incredible. That is amazing to be able to take something that started from nothing, essentially, and turn it into something now that's still being practiced, still being looked at.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. My next question for you goes right into kind of tying back into the pre-med, though, or going to med school. Obviously, you chose a different path.
I did.
And I think that's what entrepreneurship is all about. It's about finding yourself, finding what you're passionate about. It may not be the perfect, well-suited position that you were always dreaming of or that your parents always wanted you to do.
Absolutely.
But, we find ourselves, obviously, in this journey finding who we really are and what we're really passionate about.
Yeah.
Now, would you say being in pre-med school and going for that initial major and then obviously in school discovering that you're really passionate about music and singing, would you say that pre-med and that schooling contributed at all towards that business acumen you speak on, or like that bit of experience, if you will, or was it like day and night type of training?
I would say that I have used 0% of my pre-med knowledge in my music career ever since.
Business career? In general, like business-wise?
No, like they taught me anatomy and organic chemistry, and I had to take physics and math, and that had no relation to the real world of the business that I went on to.
Absolutely.
But what it did teach me is ways to challenge your mind, and problem solve, and while what it made me realize is that I was going to have to take responsibility for my own education from this point forward, that I was not going to get handed a textbook on how to build a successful touring band. I was going to have to learn that on my own.
Absolutely.
I did not go to school for web design, but I became a web designer. I did not go to school for audio engineering, but I have become an audio engineer.
Absolutely.
I did not. I took one semester of recording arts because it was just really fun.
Yeah.
And I have become a recording engineer. Like I'm a firm believer in learning doesn't end the day you get your diploma.
Absolutely.
Learning continues your entire life, and I hope I am learning things on the day before I exit this world.
Absolutely.
I will never know everything. It's not possible, and I want to soak up as much knowledge as I can at all times.
100%.
And I think the whole transition from pre-med to music, I don't think it's that big a transition really, and this is getting maybe a little deep, yeah. But I will say that I really believe that music is math, and science is math, and art, and all of the things that are involved there. It's all interrelated. You are creating neural pathways in your mind that set you up for success in the most completely related ways, even though you weren't expecting that they were related. I think that's why I am a massive proponent for music education for kids.
Absolutely.
I think that it makes them smarter across the board in all of the, people, they talk about STEM subjects, science, technology, engineering, math.
Yeah.
Well, these days they start adding an A to that acronym. It's STEAM.
STEAM, I was going
right?
to say.
You add in the
one.
word A, the arts for the A, right? The arts make you smarter at science, technology, engineering, and math simply because you're building those pathways.
Absolutely.
And I fully contribute my musical upbringing from the time I was, basically born as part of the reason why science and math came so second nature to me.
Yeah.
I didn't have to build new pathways. Those pathways were already there.
Absolutely.
And I was just using them in a different way.
Absolutely. And that's amazing. That's exactly what you've done. You've taken something that, a value or a discipline, right? That you're able to apply now to what you're truly passionate about.
Yeah, thanks.
But it's fascinating. I mean, it's fascinating what you've done. Just hearing that story alone is awesome. I think that a lot of other entrepreneurs probably have similar situations or similar, stories to that, in the sense that, we're constantly trying to find ourselves. I look at it lifelong learning.
Absolutely.
That's really what it boils down to. And like you said, not having to go to school to learn audio engineering or production, things like that. I mean, that just shows your spirit, and that's what I think what it takes to be an entrepreneur and be successful, is to understand that and just say, I'm going to do whatever it takes. I don't have to buy the textbook. I don't have to take the fancy course and get a diploma per se, but I'm going to get out there and I'm going to learn.
Real world experience.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And, your public library.
Yeah, that'll work wonders. You'd be surprised at what you can find there.
Absolutely.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go into your business a little bit.
Sure.
So you went to pre-med school and U of I.
So
came out of there with.
So I had my big fancy piece of paper that I hung on the wall and did nothing with. No one has ever in my life asked me for proof of my college degree because I didn't need it. I had the wonderful opportunity arise shortly after graduation. I was still down at campus working on producing the second of my group's 2 albums that I spoke of earlier. And an established group based in Chicago called me up and they said, "We heard about you. We got your name from a few different sources that says you're kind of the hot guy right now in the music field coming out of college."
Kind of like that girl at Starbucks that one day when we said
good Lord.
I had to bring it up. I'm sorry.
You're going off on tangents, buddy. No, it's all right. We'll get to Starbucks later.
We'll tell you guys about that in a minute.
That's hilarious. They said, "We got your name as, would you be interested in not just becoming a professional singer with our group, but would you be interested in taking it over?" The leader of the band, a lot of people don't think about this, but most bands are owned by one of the members of the band, if it's not a partnership and it's co-owned by everyone. In this case, it was owned by one particular guy, and he was looking at stepping down and wanted it to continue on as his own legacy.
Absolutely.
But wanted to find the right young guy to come in and take over his position and carry it on in perpetuity. And they got my name, and I just knew. I was like, yeah, this is my path.
It's exactly what I want to do.
This is going to allow me to do everything that I have been doing as my sideline in my college career as my profession. And I'm going to do shows, and I'm going to do recording, and I'm going to do event production, and all the things that I loved the most about my extracurricular world was now going to become my actual real world. And I said, oh yeah, I'm in.
That's fascinating.
And it took an investment on my part. It wasn't, they didn't just hand it to me. It was a business deal.
Of course, yeah.
I mentioned I graduated college at 20, so I was too young to go into the bank and ask them for $20,000 straight up. Thankfully, my dad understood what I was doing, and he co-signed the loan.
Wow.
It took me 1 year to pay back the entire $20,000 that I took out, plus more.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And it was an incredible experience. It was a professional a cappella group. A lot of people today know some of the great groups that are out there, like Pentatonics or Straight No Chaser. Think the precursor to groups like that. I was doing that in the late 90s and early 2000s. The name of the group was called Blind Man's Bluff. And we were on national tour for 6 years.
Wow.
And that was my post-collegiate entrance into the music business world.
Wow.
I was the owner, director, business manager of that band. And
that's awesome. That's incredible.
I did it from age 20 to 26.
Wow. Okay. So 6 years managing that group, essentially.
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing too, because a lot of people, I feel like, especially in arts and music and things like that, they have a hard time wrapping their head around the business side of this.
Matt, you're so right. And I have to say that I really credit that simple fact to the reason why my career has been as successful as it is, because I have the rare, I call it rare, I think it is, I have a combination of artistic sensibility and business acumen.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to say I've been great at it out the gate. I had to learn that side of things, but it came to me naturally.
Yeah.
And I think I credited my mother's side of the family with the artistic lineage. I'm going to credit my dad now. I mean, he's the businessman. He's the technology guy. I get that from him, and I use that just as much as I use the artistic side of things. And it's that synergy of those two sides that has allowed me to stay relevant in the music business and continually reinvent myself as needed as my career has progressed. You know, when I was 26 and said, I am done being on national tour, I need to find something new and find new challenges. And I fearlessly said, okay, I'm going to let go of the one thing I've loved the most more than anything in the world.
Yeah, that's pretty fascinating what you did with that group and everything. I mean, like I said, it's a business, and it's cool how you applied that acumen that you learned from your dad, and I think it's just fascinating being able to use those two skill sets in general. Understanding, like, I have this piece of me that came from, one side of my parenting, and I have another piece that came from another, and you combine the two to make it a success, essentially.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what a lot of business people and entrepreneurs should really grasp in general is mixing the skills, mixing the different levels of entrepreneurship, whether it's the creative side or the business side or the finance side or whatever it is, kind of mixing those skills and mixing those tasks and being able to be multifaceted and well-rounded, I guess.
Absolutely. And I think therein lies a major problem with a lot of people that try to go the entrepreneurial route is that they love the doing of their craft, whether, let's say they own a bakery. I'm just making stuff up so that it's as far afield from the entertainment business as we get it. So they own a bakery, right? And they love making cookies.
Yeah.
And they want to make cookies like crazy, but they don't love the setting up a storefront and
or
selling those cookies and advertising their skills as a baker. And there are so many things that go into true entrepreneurship that I firmly believe that you have to love all of it if you want to be successful at it, or you have to be willing to outsource those things. And outsource is a code word for pay other people lots of your income.
I'm glad you clarified that.
To do those things for you.
Yeah.
When I first started in my journey as a music businessman, I was paying everyone else to do everything for me. I made it my secondary passion, which has kind of turned into my primary passion now, of learning all of those facets. I don't want to have to pay a marketing guy if I can learn marketing.
Absolutely.
I don't need to give away a giant chunk of change to an agent if I can become an awesome agent and I can sell to venues.
Absolutely.
I want to learn how to be the recording engineer. So therein lies the journey to all those facets. Was just a partially me being like, I'm giving away all my money. I should probably learn some of this stuff.
Absolutely.
And then discovering along the way that I loved doing those things as well. And that's an A1 key advice that I give to any entrepreneur is love all of the facets of what you need to do to be successful.
Absolutely.
Including the sales and marketing, because without that, you got nothing.
Yeah. Nobody gets paid until something gets sold.
Amen.
So you definitely want to learn those skills and be good at them in order to spread your craft, spread what you love so much. You know, you're not going to get it out there unless you're out. You know, you're out making moves and talking to people and getting yourself branded, if you will.
Exactly.
But I mean, that's really exciting stuff. So what you did with this other group, you've basically bought in. You know, you've bought a business.
Yeah.
Essentially, that was your first business you ever bought. And you know, blood, sweat, and tears, money, you know, outsourcing, like you said, and figuring things out. You're now at a place now where you've learned a lot. You've gained a lot of knowledge, and you're still doing it. This, you know, something very similar. I want to talk a little bit about your new venture, which is the 4 C Notes. And I know I looked you guys up. You guys have a lot of shows coming up over the summer.
We do, yeah.
Really excited. I definitely want to check a couple of those out. Come see you perform, listen to your voice. I've heard amazing things. You have yet to show me anything, but we'll see. Hopefully, I can pull it out of you in this podcast.
We'll see.
But tell us a little bit about the 4 C Notes and the relationship to your previous group and kind of how that plays into your story.
Yeah. So first of all, I want to just say off the bat, the 4 C Notes, I have no ownership in that one. It's not my creation. This is the brainchild of one of my dear friends. His name is John Michael Coppola. John is wonderfully known around Chicago from not just the 4 C Notes, but also as one of the his starring role in Jersey Boys, the musical.
Right. Yes.
And John filled in as the lead character, Frankie Valli, in Jersey Boys back during its run here in Chicago.
Is that where he got his fame or name? Or?
Well, yeah, that he built his name from that, and also it was through that he was contacted to continue that music after the show closed in Chicago.
Awesome.
He was able to gather some of the musicians with whom he had worked with in the musical, but he also had to recast some of the other singers, the other seasons of the 4 seasons that the 4 C Notes are representing. Let's just put this out there. So the 4 C Notes are a tribute band recreating the music of Frankie Valli in the 4 seasons. So it's very much like the music from the show Jersey Boys, but a lot deeper, a lot more cuts, and take out all the acting scenes and all the extraneous stuff and just focus right in on all the great music of the 4 seasons from the 1960s and 70s.
Awesome.
And such.
So it really highlights the musical aspect
Absolutely,
of it. Less of the theater playwright aspect.
Yeah. And we do tell some stories along the way and whatnot. But I tell you what, so I had the great opportunity to see the show when it was in Chicago and just fell in love. I loved that show. Yeah. I was like, man, I don't do musical theater, but if I ever did, I would want to do that show. Because awesome. It's at its heart is... it's a guy group. It's the relationship of the 4 guys And I felt like, in some ways I had lived that.
Yes. Oh, yeah, from your college years.
Well, more college years and my professional experience in Blind Man's Bluff. And,
Yeah.
And I had several other bands that I've been in along the way.
Mm-hmm.
And, I've been doing that pretty much nonstop since...
it's like a piece of your story, essentially.
Absolutely. So as it turns out, for the past... I guess 9 years now, every November, I am part of a group called the Caroling Party.
Okay.
The Caroling Party is a professional Christmas caroling ensemble.
Wow, okay.
And we spread holiday cheer for the month of December. Basically, in November, we do rehearsals, and then December, we go out and we perform our butts off.
Where
and,
are you guys performing?
Seriously, at a lot of private events, country clubs, but I mean, like, the tree lighting ceremony at Macy's, and like lots of cool stuff.
Absolutely.
It's actually a 60-person ensemble. Wow. 15 members of each voice part: soprano, alto, tenor, bass. I'm one of the tenors, and through that, I happened to meet one of the new tenors about 5 years ago, I guess, 6 years ago, was John Michael Coppola.
Oh, wow.
And we did a show together, and he's like, man, you're really cool.
There's the connection.
Do you like the Four Seasons? And I'm like, oh my God, I love them. He's like, we should talk. And
that's awesome. Wow.
And so for just over 5 years now, I have been part of the Four C Notes and getting to release my inner Jersey boy.
Yeah.
And I would say that in addition to the great music, it's a wonderful stage show, fabulous choreography that John has put together. That I would say challenges me more than any of the music ever has. Just being able to dance and sing together through this whole show. And it's really been wonderful watching the group grow from doing a few private events here and there to a jam-packed schedule all summer long in the Chicagoland area, plus touring in this fall. We'll be going to Minneapolis and to Texas and to California. Wow. And it's a really, really wonderful experience that I'm very proud to be part of. And it's one of, again, I keep many plates spinning in the air, as we say in the business, right? Yeah. So it's not what I wouldn't say I do it full time. Yeah. I love doing that show, and I hope that I'll be able to continue doing that for years to come, because it's a blast. So
Seems
everyone,
like
check it out. The4 notes.com.
You can check it out on your website too, right?
Absolutely. I have links to it on
www.davidwilner.com.
There you go.
Go in there. That's where I found out all the information I needed to know. Yeah, really excited about all the upcoming shows. I'm excited to check it out.
We got a big one coming up in just about a week and a half. We're going to be launching the summer season over at Rosemont's Parkway Bank Amphitheater, which is, if everyone knows, the brand new kind of restaurant and fun area across
convention center
deal. Right across the way from O'Hare.
So
on the east side of 294 there at Balmoral. It's
nice.
So 3,000 of our closest friends will get to hear that show.
Awesome.
Pretty sure they're doing fireworks afterwards as well, so we'll see.
That's a great venue. That's going to be an amazing event.
Thank you.
For sure.
Yeah.
I might have to check that one out in particular.
I'll tell you what, it's good. Those Napervillians who don't like to drive all the way half an hour up there, we will be playing at Naper Settlement.
Perfect. There we go.
Over the summer. I want to say that's first weekend of August.
Nice.
Yeah.
And the full lineup's online. So
absolutely.
If you need any information, definitely go check it out. It's got the full lineup online on his website. It's his name, davidwilner.com. Couldn't get much better than that, right?
Pretty easy, right?
Straight to the point.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing so much on your background, so much on where you came from. And it's really fascinating, the different ventures that you've been a part of and how you're still, multifaceted and diverse in what you're doing with business. You're not just out there doing the DJing and performing for private events, but you're also part of these big groups. You're part of these big organizations that are not only influential for your business, but influential for the community, the art community, the music community, all of it. And I think that, would you say that being a part of the community and being really well involved in what's going on in music and things like that are a big part of your success as far as business goes?
Absolutely. I appreciate you saying so. And yeah, that's by design. Yep. Like, one of the things that I actively have tried to do is to be as involved in my niche market and my, I would say more than anything, I'm known as an expert in vocal harmony.
Okay.
And whether it's a cappella music or like the 4 C notes doing vocal harmony with a band backing you up, there's people love that style of music, and to be able to be out there producing events that can showcase that wonderful synergy of the human voice.
Absolutely.
Is one of the things that I love the most. I have, for the past 3 years, I have had the honor of being the executive producer of the Chicago Harmony Sweepstakes. That is a huge national talent competition geared around vocal harmony ensembles. Many of our listeners may be familiar with a TV show that was on NBC for several years called The Sing-Off. The Sing-Off is basically just the TV version of the Harmony Sweepstakes.
Oh, okay.
It was completely based on our competition.
Wow. Okay.
And, even the movies came out, the Pitch Perfect movie starring Anna Kendrick and stuff like that.
It's all based around that competition.
Absolutely.
Wow.
There's the movies are based on the collegiate version. Ours is more like the U.S. Open. It's
more national level.
It's whether you're a professional or you're a collegiate or even high school. This year we actually had a high school group win the Chicago Regional.
Wow, really?
Amazing, yeah. And in fact, the national finals were just this past Saturday, the May 19th.
Okay.
And the high school ensemble Polarity just took 3rd place in the nation. That was the group that I want to take at least a little credit for helping find them and bring them out here. So
you were one of the judges on this?
No. I'm as executive producer. I'm not a judge because I can't play any favoritism. I was the master of ceremonies.
Nice.
I got to play Ryan Seacrest.
Oh, beautiful.
Which is more suitable to my.
I can see the resemblance. Definitely.
My talents. Yeah, I've been accused of being the Ryan Seacrest of Naperville.
That's funny.
I would like to extend that to being the Ryan Seacrest of Chicago, but that would be good.
Naperville for sure. Let's tell everybody what happened at Starbucks the other day.
Oh, good Lord.
You're the real Ryan Seacrest. So we're sitting at Starbucks, and it's the first time I ever met David. Or actually, no, this is the second time I ever met you. It's the first time we ever had a sit-down meeting.
Just the two of us, right?
Yeah. I think actually my business partner, Tom, was with us.
He was?
He was even like, wow. So we're sitting there enjoying our coffee and just having a good old time, and some local North Central college student comes up and is like, "Are you David Wilner?" And we're like, both me and my partner look at each other like, Who is David Wilner? Who is this guy? She was just like blown away. I can't believe you're here. They started going into some of the stuff that you guys are working on together. Actually, like you mentioned, you recently hired her, right?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
So she was hired to say all that. It was all part of his plan. No, I'm just kidding. Well, this is why I say you're so well known in the community, and you're a leader because of that experience. I saw that firsthand, and I was blown away by that kind of enthusiasm to see you. That was awesome.
I have the good fortune of being able to be out in front of a large number of people as a performer, as on events where I'm either DJing, master of ceremonies. Like people see me just as hey, here's the guy on the microphone again. Yeah, that guy.
Seriously.
I love that. I have a particular skill of being able to just stand in front of thousands of people and entertain and talk and make people laugh and have a great time. And I want to use that as much as I possibly can to affect the lives of as many people as possible.
Awesome.
Can I go deep for a second?
Oh, hell yeah.
You ready?
Absolutely.
All right. One of the things that I figured out, and we're going to tie this back to the whole Premed thing.
Okay.
There are other ways to heal people.
Absolutely. Ooh, I like that. And that ties into your background. It ties into Premed. So they're not too far off.
They're not too
like
far
you
off.
explained.
You like that?
Absolutely. I
Super
love
deep
that.
on you right now.
Oh man, you hit me in the feels right there.
Bam.
No, that's good though. I mean that it just shows the connection. They're not too far off. No. They're right there. Changing career paths like that. They're not always these huge drastic transitions. You can apply a lot of the stuff that you've transitioned into immediately.
I think the biggest takeaway is that if you are actively involved in your true passion, you'll know, because you'll love every minute of what you're doing.
Absolutely. I love that.
Right. People are like, oh man, you must work so hard. I'm like, I don't work.
Seriously.
I have a great time making people have fun, or playing music for people and entertaining a crowd, and DJing music at a wedding, or being a master of ceremonies at a charity fundraiser, or, go down the line of all the wonderful types of events that I'm a part of. I'm a producer of a show at a theater where 700 people can experience new music that they've never seen before, and give artists an opportunity to perform in places where they've never been before. Like these are joyful moments.
Absolutely.
That I am very, very blessed that I get to be a part of. And my plan is, like, I'm not even close to done. Like, I'm just getting started.
Absolutely.
Finding all the ways that I can use my unique synergy of talents to spread that love and that joy to as many people as I can.
I love that. I love that. I think that pretty much ties up what entrepreneurship is all about.
Yes.
Is finding what you love, not just conforming and saying, I'm just going to do this because my parents want me to do it, or this is just the right thing to do. No, really finding what you love to do and figuring out a way that you can make a living off of it and actually survive and thrive. And it's like you said, spread that message, spread whatever it is that you're trying to spread to as many people as you possibly can.
I hope I can, if nothing else, be a kind of the beacon of it is possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
And I think that's exactly what this episode will do. It'll inspire people.
That's great.
To get out there and do.
That is my goal more than anything else. If my story can serve as an inspiration to one person, then we've done a good thing today.
Hell yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I just want to finish off the episode by putting you on the spot majorly, by asking you to give your final thoughts to the entrepreneurs listening, but in your best vocal singing voice, if you will.
Oh, wow. Okay. We actually didn't even talk about this, but so after I spent my 6 years in Blind Man's Bluff, national tour, 5 albums, killing it, doing great work, burnt out, done.
Yeah.
I decided that I was going to record a solo album.
Okay.
And the solo album came out in 2002. So we're talking a long time ago now.
Yeah.
But one of the songs, and it's all my original music, and one of the songs that I wrote back then still serves to this day as a cornerstone of my belief about everything. The name of the song is called Never Too Late.
Okay.
That's actually the title of the album, Never
okay.
Too Late. And the chorus basically says it all, and it's never too late to start it over again.
Ooh, that was spicy, man. I love that. I love it.
Never too late to start it over again.
Hey, that's the story of entrepreneurship right
Absolutely.
there. But I know some people who have been in corporate America for 25 years and they decided to just take the leap of faith. And I think it's those lyrics that you just sang that are going to inspire people to do that same thing. So thank you so much again, David, for coming on the show. Thank you for singing for me. I'm so excited about that.
You got a little taste, huh?
Yes.
All right, I'll charge you.
Oh, man. You guys are paying for this. No, I'm just kidding. Well,
so
thanks
glad to
again.
be here with you.
I really appreciate you coming on, man. I great conversation. It was a pleasure talking with you today. Thank you for all the insight. I'm sure a lot of entrepreneurs and other business people are going to get a lot out of it. So you can find David on his website. It's very simple, www.davidwilner.com. He's also on Facebook, so please check him out on Facebook. He's got a lot of information on there as far as what he's doing in the music world, some of his performances, even his services, obviously. You can also find him on Instagram as well. Are you on Instagram?
David Wilner Music.
Beautiful. Well, find him at David Wilner Music on Instagram as well. Follow him. Check him out. Again, thank you so much for being on with me today. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for everyone listening. This is the Young Entrepreneurs Podcast with your host, Matt Estacio. Until next time.